So dear students, we are going to start with the sulfonamides. We'll just start with the slideshow. So basically, sulfonamides were first discovered by Domag and his co-workers. Okay, accidentally it was discovered. So it is a type of discovery by serendipity. Gerhard Domag of Bayer Labs in 1932, he actually used the dye Prontosil red. Accidentally, this dye was taken by a person who was suffering from some bacterial infection. He was having some cough and cold, throat infection. He took this Prontosil red accidentally, okay, and say after 1 or 2 days without taking any other medicine, that person was cured of that bacterial infection. So Domag and his co-workers, basically Domag, this the name of that scientist who discovered sulfonamides, he thought for a while ki, how come this particular person was like cured from the infection. And then later on, after doing the metabolic studies, he found that Prontosil red, when it is taken in the body, in vivo it is actually acted upon by the CYP450 type of enzyme system which is present in liver. This Prontosil red is actually metabolized by azoreductase enzyme which is present in abundance in liver, and this is converted into sulfanilamide. So here you see the structure of sulfanilamide. Okay, so this Prontosil red, it is having actually two components. यहाँ पे आप देखो Prontosil का structure draw किया है मैंने. ये azo group जो है N double bond N, this group is broken down, okay, and NH2 and NH2 group is created here. So a triamino benzene type of molecule is liberated, and this is SO2 NH2, and here also NH2 at para position is formed. This is nothing but this is a structure of sulfanilamide which is drawn here in the neighboring position. So it was because of in vivo formation of sulfanilamide, this particular Prontosil, it showed this antibacterial activity. And during this period, the you can say the genesis of the concept of prodrug, it also came into existence. So sulfanilamide actually is the metabolite of Prontosil red. Prontosil red, you can consider it as a prodrug because it is inactive outside, and taken in the body, it is converted into an active metabolite sulfanilamide. Okay, for this the scientist Gerhard Domag, he got the Nobel Prize in medicine. So it was a very wonderful discovery, a landmark in you can say medicinal chemistry, and till date more than 5,500 different sulfonamides have been discovered. Of course, my dear friends, we have seen the beta lactam antibiotics before this also, but as compared to beta lactam and typical antibiotics, the sulfonamides are less potent, and so they are basically used as antibacterial, but they don't have a much better or a good spectrum of activity as compared to the basic antibiotics. Okay, so you cannot call sulfonamides as antibiotics, you can call them as antibacterials. Okay, uh, you can see the structure. There are two types of nitrogen. This is the amino nitrogen at N4, and this is the sulfonamido nitrogen at N1. Why this is given as one position, why not the amino at one position? Because this sulfur का atomic number nitrogen से ज़्यादा है, तो यहाँ पे numbering it will start obviously giving priority to sulfur. So this substitution, this carbon which is having the substitution of sulfur is having one position. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 will come for the amino nitrogen. Okay, this is a classification. On the basis of chemical nature, the classification goes like this. The agents with substituents on amino group, that is N4, मतलब यहाँ पे कुछ substitution होता है जिसे हम कहते हैं Prontosil. Example से Prontosil, then Soleucopticin. Okay, Soleucopticin is another name. These are not that much popular, but the substitution on the sulfonamido group, that is the N1 पे ये nitrogen 1 है और ये nitrogen 4 है, तो N1 पे जो substitution है, those will afford or those will yield very good sulfa drugs. Okay, like for example sulfadiazine, sulfacetamide, sulfadimidine, etc. Now the third category is the sulfa drugs or the agents which are having both the substitutions, that is both at N1 and N4. Examples are succinyl sulfathiazole and thionyl sulfathiazole. Okay, which are, these are examples of clinically used members except Prontosil. Prontosil is a dye, it is not used clinically at all. Okay, अब fourth category जो classification की है वो the agents missing the amino group, means this N4 is missing, N4 is not present. These are also called as non-anilino, क्योंकि aniline molecule ही loss होता है, तो these are called as anilino, non-anilino, while 1 to 3 are anilino. The fourth category is non-anilino. An example is mefenide, although it is not much potent. तो सबसे common कौन से हैं? Second category. Okay, and then the somewhat less common is the third. First is very uncommon, and the fourth is extremely uncommon. Now this is a classification based in detail, you can have based on the duration of action, also you can write down, because many times the exam it asks the questions on based on the duration of action. So short acting, long acting, intermediate and extra long acting, and depending upon those which are used to treat the GIT infections. And the last one is the uncategorized sulfur drugs. You can take the examples, and you, because you have to memorize it, you can take from the book Medicinal Chemistry by Kadam and Mahadik. Okay. SAR studies, the sulfanilamide skeleton, ये जो आपको पूरा स्ट्रक्चर दिखता है ना राइट साइड पे टॉप पे, दिस इज कॉल्ड सल्फानिलामाइड स्केलेटन. इट इज मैंडेटरी फॉर एंटीबैक्टीरियल एक्टिविटी. अब हम कहते हैं कि नॉन एनिलिनो मतलब यहाँ पे N4 में कुछ भी नहीं है. मेफेनाइड का एग्जाम्पल वी हैव सीन, बट स्टिल it is not advisable to not to have this NH2 group at 4 position. So in general, sulfanilamide skeleton is mandatory for antibacterial activity. देन सल्फर एटम, इट शुड बी डायरेक्टली लिंक टू द रिंग. अब ये जो रिंग कार्बन है और ये सल्फर है, इन दोनों के बीच में कोई भी अदर एटम नहीं चाहिए. ओके, सो डायरेक्ट लिंकिंग ऑफ सल्फर टू द रिंग कार्बन इज necessary for activity, antibacterial activity. N1 substitution, we are talking about the SO2 NH2 substitution. It should be substituted by electron withdrawing groups. Okay, सपोज द हेट्रोसाइक्लिक रिंग इफ इट इज अटॅच NH2 के जो दो हायड्रोजन है, समजा हे दोन हायड्रोजन पैकी एका हायड्रोजनला तुम्ही हेट्रोसायक्लिक रिंगने रिप्लेस केलं, कुठलाही डायझिन रिंग आहे, फ्युरान रिंग आहे, ओके, देन द टॉक्सिसिटी इज डिक्रीज्ड. ओके, अँड इलेक्ट्रॉन विड्रॉइंग ग्रुप्सनी रिप्लेस केलं तर इट इज गुड फॉर अँटीबॅक्टेरियल ॲक्टिव्हिटी. ओके, द फोर्थ पॉइंट इज N4 सब्सटीट्यूशन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. ये जो अमाइनो ग्रुप है, दिस शुड ऑलवेज बी प्रेजेंट एट पैरा पोजिशन. जैसे ये 4 पोजिशन मतलब पैरा पोजिशन है, इट शुड बी ऑलवेज प्रेजेंट एट द पैरा पोजिशन. इफ यू चेंज इट टू ऑर्थो और मेटा, देन द एक्टिविटी इज लॉस्ट. डिक्रीज भी नहीं होती है, बट इट इज लॉस्ट. ओके, the next point is substitutions on benzene ring destroys activity. Now you can see in the structure 2, 3 and 5, 6 positions, they are not having any substitution. So if you substitute, then the activity is lost or it is destroyed. If it is unsubstituted, then it is all right. Okay. The next point is substitution on sulfonamido group with SO3H. आता इकडे बघा तुम्ही SO2 NH2 ग्रुपला समजा तुम्ही SO3H मध्ये कन्वर्ट केलं म्हणजे सल्फोनिक ऍसिड, then okay, the activity is not there, no activity. Okay, but if it is SO2H, SO2H म्हणजे काय, सल्फिनिक ऍसिड. SO3H is, what is it, SO3H sulfonic acid, and SO2H it is sulfinic acid. So in case of sulfonic acid, no activity. In case of sulfinic acid and acetylation at N4 म्हणजे N4 ला NH2 ला तुम्ही कन्वर्ट केलं NHCOCH3 म्हणजे acetate derivative तयार केला, then the N4 it retains activity, means sulfinic acid analogues and acetylation at N4 it will retain the activity. Now it has been observed that the active form, okay, the biologically active form of sulfonamide is the ionized form with the pK 6.6 to 7.4. So the importance of pK, the role of pK in drug designing of sulfonamide is very, very important, is very, very crucial. That this particular point of SCR we will see in detail in the forthcoming slide. Let us see first the adverse effects. GIT, urinary tract, nervous system, okay, hematopoietic system. So you can see reproductive effects are there. Kernicterus, you can have, that is extra or high amount of free bilirubin is there in the CNS, okay, of the fetus or the baby. Then hypersensitivity reaction. So you can see a lot and lot of adverse effects have been reported to sulfonamides, which has declined its popularity. Okay, antibiotics मुळे तुम्हाला super infection होतं, We have seen the super infection, what is super or supra infection, that is okay, that can be taken care of. But the adverse effects of sulfonamides are numerous, and most of the adverse effects related to urinary tract, okay, these have been eliminated by the proper control of the pH. By using the unionized form, by using the ionized form, it has been taken care of. But what we cannot do is about the reproductive affective effects, then the hematopoietic system, and the various hypersensitivity reactions which can occur, cannot be taken care of in case of sulfonamides, which has declined their popularity in comparison to the other traditional antibiotics like beta lactam antibiotics, chloramphenicol, tetracycline, aminoglycoside antibiotics, and so on. So this is a very you can say very good example of the antibiotics wherein we use the trimethoprim and pyrimethamine. We saw in the chapter of anti-malarials that trimethoprim and pyrimethamine are 2,4-diaminopyrimidine category, and these are being utilized with sulfa drugs. For example, trimethoprim is used in combination with sulfamethoxazole as antibacterial. The name of the cream is clotrimoxazole, and also pyrimethamine has been used in combination with sulfadiazine as anti-malarial. So these are examples of bacteriostatic and bactericidal, but sulfamethoxazole, you can say it is a type of sulfonamide. Okay, it is bacteriostatic in nature. You can see the examples I have listed down. This sulfonamide is bacteriostatic, means it is going to cause the inhibition of bacteria. It is not going to kill the bacteria, but it is going to stop some of the mechanisms in the bacterial cell so that the bacteria is not killed, the cell lysis is not going to take place. मतलब जो सेल है वो सेल डिसॉल्व नहीं होता है, साइटोसॉल उसका निकलता नहीं है बाहर, that particular cell is being stopped somewhere. Either the protein synthesis of the bacterial cell is stopped, or some of the processes are hampered due to which the bacteria dies. It is not killed. Okay, physically it is not killed. So sulfonamides, remember, they are bacteriostatic in nature. In the previous slide of anti-malarials, as I've told you, this combination is usually used. So you can also consider it very important from GPAT point of view. You're going to give the competitive exams, okay, in your forthcoming year. So remember this particular combination of sulfamethoxazole and clotrimoxazole, sulfadiazine, and pyrimethamine. These are very good antibacterial and anti-malarials. Then the mechanism of action we are going to see. Okay, I think we should stop because I have to just check out the time. Okay, okay, because larger videos cannot be uploaded very easily, that is why we will stop here. We'll continue